Hello there, my name is Carla and today is another episode of my spring makeup favorites. Today is going to be the eyeshadow palettes that I plan to be using this spring. If you want to check out my blushes, lipsticks, and other eye products that I'm going to be putting on my face this spring, feel free to look at my other videos. If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, then please press the like button, join my family by subscribing, and press the bell, and that way you can see any of my future uploads. We're going to be interspersing high-end palettes with affordable palettes today. Let's get started. First of all, I wanted to highlight some of the neutral matte palettes that I'm going to be using to anchor some of my more pastel colorful looks. So this palette will be on my desk all spring long. This is Pat McGrath, the Velvet Liaison palette, and we have some warm neutrals and some cool neutrals. I can just do a light wash of color. I'll show you how I got this eye look at the end of the video and with what palette I used. So this is one of my neutral palettes that I'll be using. The other more neutral palette is my new Nude Prism palette. And this is from Lunar Beauty. This not only has some incredible sparkly shades, it also has a wide range of light, medium, and dark matte colors that I can use for warm or cool eyeshadow looks. So those are my neutral palettes that I will be using this spring to create looks. Next, let's go with an affordable palette. This e.l.f. palette came out last year. This is the Cookies and Dreams eyeshadow palette. So this has a couple of neutrals and it also has some pops of blue here. Overall, this palette is not super impressive, but the reason I keep it around is for the pops of blue. So here's the light blue shimmer and here's the navy blue shimmer in the Cookies and Dreams palette. So that's one of the e.l.f. palettes that I'll be using this summer. Another palette that I plan to use that's a more neutral palette is an Ulta palette that I received really recently. This has a really pretty pop of a corally peach color and some other nude colors. So when I want a neutral peachy look, then I'm going to use this palette. While we're discussing Ulta palettes, might as well go to my other Ulta palette that I'm going to be using. This is a green palette. Green is my very favorite color. And so this has a couple of neutrals and then it has two greens here at the bottom that are nice and velvety. This is a buildable palette, so you don't have to be intimidated by the colors here. So here's one of the greens right here, and then this one is the other one. I hope you can see that. So now let's go to a more expensive palette that I am planning to use a lot this spring. That is one from Pat McGrath. And this is one of the palettes that she launched over the holidays. This is Celestial Nirvana. So this is more of a plummy shade that I can use. Just a plummy kind of color story that I can use. The sparkles in here are absolutely beautiful. And this is actually a pretty diverse palette. So this is one that I'm going to be using for some neutral cool looks this spring as well. Next, let's go to a Huda Beauty palette that I am definitely going to be reaching into this spring. This is the Rose Quartz palette. Here it is. And so this has some cooler shades, but it also has some nice springy, summery shades here. I'm gonna swatch this one right here because this one pretty much stands out to me. Let me get a good swatch on here for you. There we go. Look at that. Looks kind of wet on the eyes, but I'm looking forward to creating some nice looks with this palette. this spring. So now I want to go to a Natasha Denona palette. This is my most recent Natasha Denona purchase. This is the Love Face and Eye palette. So this blush here is a nice cool toned blush. And the highlighter is the same one from the My Dream palette. And then we have some pretty pinkies. This is such a really pretty color, the way it translates on the eyes. You could use this as an eyeliner if you want to keep the look soft and light. And then this is a really pretty pop of color. I'm glad that I decided to get this palette. Back to an affordable palette. One of my latest LA Girl palettes. This quad right here, I love the packaging. It's nice and luxe feeling for such an affordable palette. And this is kind of a pinky color story. So you have this really pretty pop right here. Let me see if I can swatch this one for you. Can you imagine being out in the sun and the light hitting your eyes and all of this spectacularness on your eyeballs? So I'm looking forward to using this LA Girl palette. My next Huda palette that I wanted to highlight is, I think, my favorite springtime summer palette. This is Mercury Retrograde. And look at that. That color story is so nice. Let me see if I can do this in the mirror for you guys. Still trying to... There. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to use that color. Let me see. There was one other that I wanted to swatch for you. This purple one right here. Let's see if I can swatch this one for you. Kind of like a periwinkle, really cool purple color. So Mercury Retrograde is another exciting one. Let's go back to affordable, and this time we're going to look at an Essence palette. I have several of these little 6-pan palettes. This is Coral Me Something Magic. And so this has this really nice pretty pop of coral here, and these are some subtle shimmers that I just think would look really pretty for just an everyday spring look if you wanted a little coral. And I do use this as an eyeliner as well. So Essence, I have lots of these, but this is the one that I'm going to be using this spring. So let's go back to my Pat, excuse me, my Pat McGrath palette. This is Ritualistic Rose. This is a quad that I'm planning on using. And this is all Blitz Astral shades. The other day I used this and a bronzer. And that is it. And this is kind of like a duochrome. It's coral, peach, gold. And then this rose shade is pretty stunning as well. Really nice. So Ritualistic Rose, I will probably use with one of my neutral palettes to just get a full look out of. And I definitely wanted to get some use out of that one this spring. Another Natasha Denona palette that I want to highlight is the Natasha Denona Retro Glam palette. This was released in the winter and everybody thought, well, that looks more like a spring palette. And so definitely I'm going to get a lot of use out of this one. So let's just swatch a couple of these shades. This one is Butter right here. Very reflective, very pretty on the eyes. And let's swatch this green, mint green sparkle up here. There she is. Very buttery, really creamy. Again, really dramatic on the eyes. And I'm planning on actually using this with the Natasha Denona Retro Mini Palette. Let me show you these together. Here we go. So I'm planning on working some of these looks in with each other this spring and having some really pretty rosy and green moments. So that's another Natasha Denona palette. Now, let me show you a couple of my e.l.f. bite-size palettes that I'm going to want to use. This one is a very, very light color story, just a hint of color, kind of like little cantaloupe shades. However, this little peachy, shimmery color is pretty impactful. Of course, you can't see it here very well. It's not Natasha Denona, but there you go. Really pretty light peach color that I think will go good with some of my springy outfits. Another e.l.f. bite-sized palette is the strawberry frosted with sprinkles. This was with the Dunkin' Donuts collection. Very light. This color story does not go deep, so you could pull from your neutral palettes, or you could just use this. I particularly like this pale pink shimmery shadow right here from this palette. I think that's a color I'm going to put on my lids. And then another one is my e.l.f. the Mint palette. And I feel like I could use this with some other palettes as well. This minty shade right here. Very nice light wash of color. When you don't want to be too dramatic, you could use that. Okay, so let's go back to Essence now. I'm going to highlight 3 of their larger palettes. This is Hey LA. And so I'm really drawn to these colors right here to make a sunset eye. This in the inner corner, this could be an eyeliner. So this is going to be my go-to palette when I want to do my sunset eye. So that's Essence Hey LA. Another Essence palette is the Ciao Venezia palette. And so this one is a little darker, but these colors right here are the main reason that I chose this palette, because I don't have these exact shades. This color over here is also kind of a nice yellow shade that I wanted some type of yellow. So Ciao Venezia. And the last Essence palette that I have is Hola Rio. And this side of the palette I don't really use that much. It's these colors right here that I want to use in the spring. The fuchsia color here and then the coral color here together. Those colors are really, really pretty. I want to go back to Pat McGrath now, and I have Bridgerton 1 and Bridgerton 2. I pulled both of these palettes, and these 4 colors right here specifically I feel like are really pretty for spring. This blue color is so impactful on the eye, especially when it's contrasted with these pinks. It just really makes it pop. So for that reason, I chose Bridgerton 1. Bridgerton 2, it also has a couple of really punchy colors in it. This gold right here is very, very vivid on the eyes. Really, really shows up from a long way away. And again, this kind of more minty green color is very unique. I don't have anything else in my summer palettes quite like this one either. So this is Bridgerton 2. Let's go to one that actually Morgan Turner had a sponsorship with last year. This is an eyeshadow palette that is found on Amazon, and the brand is Bethelin. So this is the Bethelin Spice palette. It's the largest palette I have in my collection. And it opens up kind of like a book. And this is your pastel rainbow palette right here. And she tried these colors. She swatched them. She tried them on. And even though this palette is very affordable, the eyeshadows were very impactful. So I'm looking forward to using this palette. By the time I got it last year, the spring was pretty much over. Hold on, I'm having a hot flash, people. All of you ladies going through menopause, I'm sure can understand. So that's Bethelin palette. I will try to list that one and link that one. I'm still trying to figure out how to do all of that, but the Amazon part I figured out. All right, so we're getting down to the wire here, people. The next Pat McGrath palette that I wanted to share with you is one of the Divine Rose palettes. So I went through my motherships, and really in each mothership there are colors that could be used in spring and summer. So go through some of your palettes, and just maybe you had forgotten about some of the beautiful shades that could be used in those palettes. So I went through all of my palettes and I refreshed my memory about what I had in my collection. So these rosy tones are just perfect for spring, and these Blitz Astrals, just glistening, beautiful, sparkly goodness on the eyes. So I also have another one of the rose palettes. Let me see if this is it or not. Let me open it up. I have 3 of the Pat McGrath motherships, not just 2. I forgot about the third one. So this one, let me open it up. This is the Divine Rose 2. And I think this is pretty self-explanatory. These shades right here, no camera does them justice. They're so impactful. Even this lavender up here, but these Blitz Astrals right here, whoo, they pack a punch. And then I also pulled Utopian Dream. I think Utopian Dream, I don't know, I go back and forth. You guys do that? You go back and forth on your Pat McGrath palettes? I think right now Utopian Dream is my favorite. And the color story just really just grabs me. So this shade right here, this shade right here, they're just so beautiful. They have some darker shades if you wanted to deepen up the look, but that is Utopian Dream from Pat McGrath. And it looks like I only have one palette left, and that is the palette I have on my eyeballs, which are on my sweaty face that's having hot flashes right now. So what I did was I just started just putting eyeshadows in patches all over my eyes and just made a look. I have a mint here, a blue here, a pinky purple here, and I have mint, purple, iridescent opal color shadows on the inner corner. And this is Natasha Denona, the pastel palette from last spring. And this just screams pastel. It's my favorite pastel palette because it stays pastel. It stays light. It doesn't go to those really dark pinks, purples, blues, all of those things. It stays really light. And so to me, that's what spring is. You know, summer is more of your deeper purples, pinks, reds, yellows, all those kinds of things. But the Natasha Denona pastel palette is really pretty. Today I used this mint shimmer in the middle of my eyelid, and I have to look at it, sorry guys. Oh, this white opaly color on the inner portion. You can see that it's very iridescent, really pretty. And then I used this dark pink color on the outer eyelid. Pinky purpley shade. And I also put 2 shades of purple eyeliner on the upper eyelid. And then on the lower eyelid, I used Give by Gwen Stefani bath water in the waterline. And down below, I used 1 NYX jumbo stick and 1 Milani jumbo stick. And it's like this cool combination of colors on my eyes. So that's my eye look for today. And I'm really looking forward to playing with all of these palettes. So if you have any palettes that you like for spring, please share those with me. And the Ulta sale is still going on, 50% off of different items every single day. I've purchased 2 items. I have limited myself to 3 items, And so I'll be sharing my little Ulta haul with you. I am actually purchasing a few more things that are not in that sale, but there are other things that I've wanted to try on for you guys. But as far as the Ulta sale itself, I chose 3 pricier items while they're 50% off so that I could get those. And so I'll be doing a full look of Ulta, a full face of Ulta here after the sale is over and I've gotten all of my different products. So I'm probably going to be doing a vlog later on today or tomorrow. I'm going to go get my nails done and I want to just check out the Dollar Tree, Walmart, Target, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, just see what's going on and show you guys any things that I'm interested in. So I hope you'll come along with me for that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my reggae music. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I also hope you have a great day.